of being. And part of what I think contributes to that is one is called a confirmation bias. And this is the idea that you unconsciously, but actively look for and seek out information that confirms your existing beliefs. So if you believe the world is flat, right, that's a belief, and we can talk about scientific fact, disagreeing with that. But if you believe that, which, by the way, there was an NBA player just a couple months ago that actually said that science had lied to us and said that the world isn't round, that it's actually flat, and that was because when he was walking around, had he ever seen any place round on the earth? And so,
and there's also a rapper who feels the same way, whose name I shall not mention because we are part of the entertainment industry, and I like to play nice, but there are high-profile people who are running around talking about, when I fly, I don't see Australia, but I don't really know if their vision is that deep to Australia. But I mean,
it's the opposite of Sarah Palin seeing it's the opposite of Sarah Palin seeing Russia in her backyard, right?
Okay.
So, but this confirmation bias is real. So I believe something, and if I have a belief about it, that is true. Perception is reality. And therefore, I'm just only looking for more information that is going to solidify my already existing beliefs. Okay, so that's one part of it. The other part about it, which is super, this is where my psychology geek comes out, because I find this one particularly fascinating. It's called a bias blind spot. And so what researchers have found is that most people are biased to believe that they are less biased than everyone else. Okay, so let me walk you through that again. That most people think that they are way more open-minded and objective in their beliefs and opinions about the world than everybody else around them. Okay? So, and then what is more frightening about this perspective is that research also shows that the more objective someone thinks they are, the more likely they are to respond more violently towards and with more hostility towards counter beliefs, towards people that are opposite to them, and to offer more aggressive and violent solutions to problems that they perceive. Okay, so you believe what you believe when you believe what you believe, and nobody can make you change your mind. Yeah, it's not quite that simple or that dire, but I wanted to talk about these things because I hear some of my friends and family being frustrated like you, like, I'm being trolled, and you have an online presence, you have your entertainment company, you're out in the music industry, and so it could be a little bit more expected for someone like you, Tomas, to have a troll. But I have made comments on like maybe a HuffPost article or a BuzzFeed article online and had people respond in such negative ways to me that I'm like, but I'm just like Nikki Colbert. I'm just a regular person out in the world.
And what's funny about what you're saying is the very first time I was trolled, like 3 years ago, I really thought I was somebody. I said, because you
I made it
one in this industry unless the haters are hating. They hate and they hating. And I was like, oh, Tomas is the truth right about now. Tomas ain't the truth.
No.
Trolls be everywhere.
They everywhere. They don't need a bridge. They don't need a cave to hide in.
Like you could say, I use, Fresh Step cat litter for my cat. Well, that's because you don't love your cats. If you love them, you would use an anti-clump, extra free, smoke this, that. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What?
Exactly. And so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of people's cognitive biases being played out without a whole lot of thoughtfulness around why, or for me, and this is kind of my big purpose for wanting to do this podcast, not only the why, but how and what can we do differently about it. And so one of the things that I know for sure is like critical thinking is a skill. Not everybody has that particular skill. The other part about critical thinking is you lose it if you don't use it, right? And so I think part of what is happening is we have so much information that we're bombarded with all the time. The world is moving so fast. We just do more, right? And that we have little time. I'm not going to say we have. We make little time to sit and be reflective and to be thoughtful and to be a little bit more okay with being skeptical about what we believe to be true.
Right. And to just be okay with the fact, I mean, and this is going to sound fairly simplistic, but be okay with the fact that you may not be right.
Exactly.
To listen to what other people have to say, because this is the thing I don't like about categorizing people based on our perceptions of things. We see a person and they happen to be Latina and female and, coming from California. So we automatically have these assumptions about who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know that person's politics, ideology, belief system, religion, or any of that. But we've already placed them in that box. And now this person has to fight against biases and stereotypes just to have a voice, just to be able to say hello in a coffee shop without getting into any sort of beef with someone because of how they perceive them. And I think we have to come back to this whole concept of let the person show you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my friends are often surprised at some of my viewpoints because, well, they don't fit the viewpoint of what I should be thinking because I am this, that, and the third thing.
Right.
I got that memo that told me because I was born a man, because I was black, because I'm gay, that I need to think like this. No one sent me that memo.
You didn't get that download. That's a shame.
I was really upset. I felt real left out about that.
You've been outed from the community because you didn't get
kind of way that I
you
never got my memo.
And so, but here's the thing, Thomas. So there's another little piece that I want to add to this, right? And I saw a podcast. I saw a TED Talk. I'm doing a podcast. I saw a TED Talk by this. She's a skeptic, right? So she is a very specific kind of philosophical worldview, and she was talking about that, but from a place that I think provides us with an opportunity for next steps. Because I always want to leave folks with next steps, right? This isn't just about giving you information about psychological research, but I really want people to kind of walk away from these podcasts with some things to do differently. So her name is Julia Galef, and she did a TED Talk about kind of two ways of thinking in the world, right? And one is called like a soldier mindset, and the other is called a scout mindset. And what you just described in talking about, like, people are way more complex than the boxes we put them in, and talking about how sometimes your perspectives on things don't necessarily fit the categories that you've been lumped into and identified with, about the willingness to be open to dialogue, the willingness to be open to other opinions, is this scout mindset. And it is this conscious and active way of approaching the world. So rather than assuming that what you know to be true is the truth, what you do is you walk around with a bit of curiosity, that you walk around with a sense of open-mindedness, that there may be other perspectives that are equally valid, but you just haven't encountered them yet, right? And it sounds so simple, but unfortunately, I think we've gotten to a place where that's a novel way of thinking about the world. And so having a scout mindset is much more one of asking questions. The other part about it is to really be open-minded. you have to have an internal sense of self-concept and self-esteem. So people who are genuinely open-minded are not threatened when they encounter information, research, opinions, experiences that are different than theirs, right? So, and I think that that's what's happening. People are feel themselves, or trolls feel themselves so threatened, right? I'm personally threatened if you don't believe the world is exactly the way that I say it is. And so I would want people to go and check out that TED Talk for her. I would want people to do a little bit more thinking as they move throughout their life over the next week. We're going to be back again and we can talk more in detail about this next time. But think about ways that your cognitive biases are showing up without you even realizing it. And then start to think about what might be a little bit different if you stopped talking as much and started listening a little bit more. How it might change your life, how it might free you up, how it might bring you in closer connection to the really important people that are around you, how you might learn more about yourself if you take the opportunity to listen and dialogue and be curious rather than to talk, spout off opinions, debate, and be closed-minded.
I just want to mention, and some of our listeners who are listening attended my workshops, collegiate workshops before know this. And one of the things I find interesting in having these types of conversations is the theme that comes up again and again is fear.
Mm-hmm.
I let go of my belief, something that I've held as my truth for 18, 19, 20, 60, 100 years, then what will I have?
Mm-hmm.
And some people are just afraid to let go of that and do the work to rebuild themselves. And I do understand that. And I think the other thing that I found, because I've been in various different states, almost all of them, and sat in front of college students and said things to them and had people say things to me like, I just never thought about that. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the way my mind thinks. I remember specifically this young man who liked to use the phrase, dude, don't be such a fag with his friends.
Ooh.
And I spoke to him about how that was homophobic. And he said to me, well, I'm not talking to gay people. My friends aren't gay. So it's not homophobic. And I said, well, why are we using the phrase, dude, don't be such a fag? Is it because we believe that being a fag is being less than a man? And he goes, yeah, but he had never thought
Mm-hmm.
in that context. He'd never thought in the context of the actual word and the meaning behind the word and what his intentions were behind the word. He was
Right.
simply trying to motivate his friends to do something that they didn't want to do. Maybe go out and hang out with him or whatever the case. So in his mind, dude, don't be such a fag wasn't offensive because as his own words were, I would never ever say that to someone who I knew was gay.
Mm.
So that's how complex these issues get. And I'm
For
really
sure.
excited that we're going to have these types of conversations in this podcast with you, Dr.
I'm excited too. But just the one other thing that I would add is that, talking with college students is what I do. Primarily, it is the job that I do that pays the bills. And there's a space and a context for being challenged in college, right? So that's a place where we think it's okay to be challenged and to engage in critical thinking. But one is not everybody goes to college. That's two. That's one part of it. And two is there's a whole lot of life left after college if you are fortunate to go there. And so what I'm really talking about is how we can get more folks to start to engage in kind of this scout mindset, to start to really take the time to think critically about things in their everyday moments in life, and not just kind of relegate it to this experience of like, well, when I'm learning something, then I can be more open-minded. No, you need to be open-minded and curious and just willing to listen to someone else's perspective throughout your entire life. I think you should never stop growing and evolving, no matter how old you are.